Hello F1 fans and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to celebrate the Formula 1 career of Ayrton Senna. We're going to take a look at some of my diecast models of the different cars he drove, and we're going to watch some footage of Ayrton Senna actually racing each car. So sit back and enjoy the legend of Ayrton Senna. Senna burst onto the Formula 1 scene in 1984, and here we have my Altaya 1-43 model of the car he drove, which was the Toleman TG184. It had a great chassis, but the Hart inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine wasn't quite as powerful as that of many of Senna's competitors, and the car wasn't quick enough to challenge for the championship. Nevertheless, because the car had a good chassis, in Monte Carlo, in wet conditions, Senna drove the car to an amazing second position. Arguably he would have won the race had it not been stopped early for safety reasons. While Senna couldn't challenge for the championship, the world realised a very special talent had entered Formula 1, and in the following season Senna was snapped up by one of the top teams. We'll now switch to watching some actual footage of Senna driving the Toleman.
As we look at Ayrton Senna from Brazil, that is car number 19, the first of the Toleman Hearts. He was second in Monte Carlo. A lot of controversy there. That race was called. People said, hang on. Senna, who is currently running 8, would have eventually beaten La Prost. Monte Carlo should not have been halted. What do you think?
I think Jackie X, who was the clerk of the course, did the right thing to stop the race. He's a good judge of racing. He drives well in the rain. He knows the Monaco circuit. He drives Formula 1 cars regularly. And he chose to stop the race. For me, it was fine. Senna, of course, when I'm looking at it right now, would rather let the race have gone on a little bit. He would surely have passed Anna. He would easily have won the race. But that's not what that decision was all about. The decision was in the interest of safety. And in my opinion, Jackie X did the correct thing.
It's interesting. A lot of the drivers and some of the commentators were saying, hang on, they halted it because a Frenchman was leading. Piquet said that the other morning, but people are pointing out just a minute. Jackie X called Monte Carlo, and he is not a Frenchman.
Now, Jackie X is a Belgian. He won the Le Mans 24-hour race.
In Senna's second season in Formula 1, he did sign for a top team, and that was Lotus. Initially he drove the John Player black and gold liveried cars for 2 seasons, and then in his third season with the team in 1987 he drove this car. This is my Altaya 1-43 scale model, and it's of the Lotus 99T. This car had the very powerful Honda V6 turbo engine, which was regarded as the most powerful engine on the grid at that time. However, the Williams was also running the same engine, and that had a superior chassis, and Nelson Piquet won the World Championship this year. Senna realised that to win his first World Championship he needed to sign for the team with the best chassis, and in the 1980s that was McLaren. So before we look at Senna's McLaren career, we'll just have a look at some footage of Senna and his Japanese teammate Nakajima driving the 99T. So in 1988, Senna moved to McLaren, and here we have my 1-24 scale Altaya model of the MP4-4. This had the Honda turbo engine. In the previous season, McLaren were using the TAG Porsche engine. However, they were keen to get hold of the most powerful engine, and in doing that, Honda also wanted them to take Senna as a driver. So McLaren agreed to that. Prost, Senna's potential teammate also agreed to that, perhaps regretting that decision with what followed in subsequent seasons. But nevertheless, Senna now drove for McLaren, and in this car he took his first Drivers' World Championship. So we'll switch now to watching some footage of Prost and Senna going at it in the MP4, and Senna producing one of his characteristic aggressive overtakes. Senna remained with McLaren for the 1989 season, and this is my Minichamps McLaren MP4-5, which was driven by Senna and Prost. Again, it was a dominant car, and it looks fairly similar to the MP4-4. However, the engine is completely different. This now has the Honda V10 naturally aspirated engine instead of the turbocharged engine. And you can see there's now a large air intake above the driver's head, and the car is much taller than before. This particular car is driven by Takuma Sato. He did a demonstration run in Suzuka in 2001, and this is a commemorative replica from that event. We'll switch now to watching Senna do one of his incredible pole laps. Senna became known as a qualifying master, so sit back and enjoy Senna putting the MP4-5 on pole position.
So now Senna waiting till the end, so everybody else has gone and done their qualifying lap. Hopefully he will have a clear lap, and the style that he's been developing this year on these qualifying laps is much less friendly than it used to be. Watching him years ago, particularly in the days of the turbo, was actually really frightening. Some of the things, some of the antics, the angles, the attack he put into his driving really took my breath away. But now he's evolved this extremely effective, smooth style of qualifying. 57.5 seconds at the exit is good. So maybe Berger is going to steal that pole position away from Alan Prost. I think he's going to be back in the front row anyway, but we're going to have to wait another 12-15 seconds till he gets round parabolic and see. But so far the lap looks absolutely immaculate. In fact, I have to say it looks slow, but that to me is an indication this is a good lap. 22.533. Senna back on pole, and didn't it look slow?
Senna went on to win 2 further World Championships with McLaren using the V12 engine. It's still the only V12 engine ever to win a Drivers' World Championship. But in 1993, McLaren lost the Honda engine and had to run the Ford V8. And once again, Senna found himself in a position where he needed to change team if he was going to win any more World Championships. So he signed for Williams and drove this FW16. This is my Onyx 1:24 scale model. He drove with Damon Hill as his teammate, and whilst the car was arguably one of the best on the grid that year, this is the year where sadly Senna lost his life at Imola in the San Marino Grand Prix. We were unable to see the battle between Schumacher and Senna carry on that season, and probably in subsequent seasons too. So I'd just like to tip my cap to one of the greatest drivers of all time, Ayrton Senna, and enjoy one last clip of him racing the FW16.
Already we're in our second day of running here. Traffic on the circuit has been a major problem for everybody. But the second problem is that the way the tyre is working in relation to the track surface, it appears that your first flying lap is your quickest lap. So it is absolutely vital to get out at a point where you judge the circuit to be clear and be lucky in getting a clear lap. And if everything works correctly, you don't make an error, you don't spin off in first corner, well, then you've got a shot.
Well, of course, Senna, a master in getting that one lap absolutely right. And on the right we see Michael Schumacher's time and Ayrton being very close indeed. Senna 0.07 of a second slower than Michael Schumacher. And we're going on to the second intermediate point. Again on the right, Michael Schumacher's time, and now Ayrton Senna is faster than the German. So halfway around the circuit, it's Senna.
But this is the critical corner. Oh, and Senna very, very committed indeed, but basically not bad bite, pretty good balance, and momentum still intact. And now coming up into Hobbs' corner, down into Mike Knight, and then into last corner, and that will be the completion of what may be in reality his only opportunity this afternoon. Oh, and on the very ragged edge,
And he's got it.